Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, we're gonna be testing a monitor. Yes, this is gonna be a very different video. This right here is the Innocn 40C1R, and this is absolutely huge and beautiful. Let's check it out, shall we? So this is a huge 40-inch 21:9 ultra-wide monitor with a resolution of 3440 by 1440p. So 1440p ultra-wide basically. And at this resolution and size, pixel density sits at the value of 93. That's about the same as a 32-inch 1440p monitor, 16:9 of course. This is actually the same height as a 16:9 32-inch monitor, but it's way wider. Now the pixel density being at 93 is pretty average. You can actually spot the pixels from like this close to the monitor or something like that. But with such a huge monitor, you are not going to be sitting close to it. So I don't think it's a big deal, honestly. It still looks plenty sharp and detailed to me. And I actually used a 32-inch 1440p 16:9 monitor for about a year, and I was fine with that. Now, Innocn actually call this a pro art monitor. That means that it's actually geared towards content creators and professional work, of course, video editing, photo editing, as well as gaming, because it has a 144Hz refresh rate, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Now, I feel like for professional work, the PPI on this is a little bit on the low side. I think 93 PPI looks great for gaming, but if you are like video editing and especially photo editing, pixel peeping and stuff like that, it's not really as clear or as sharp as a 4K panel like this would be, like a 40-inch 4K monitor or a 32-inch 4K monitor, which is what I use on the daily. Still, you can do those things absolutely fine here. I edited tons of thumbnails with that 1440p 32-inch monitor that I was telling you about, so it's fine. It's just not perfect for a lot of creatives out there. But what about color accuracy? An awesome thing about this monitor is that it comes calibrated out of the box. They actually manually calibrate it and they give you a little paper. And I mean, the colors out of the box, they really pop. They are vibrant, they are beautiful. I really liked gaming on it and editing stuff on it as well. I feel like it's pretty accurate. Another good thing for professionals out there is that this is a flat monitor. It has no curve. I think for gaming it actually hurts it a little bit being so wide. A little bit of a curve would benefit it there, but for content creation and video and photo editing and stuff like that, it's actually great that it's flat because you got no deformation then. Brightness wise, I also used this little thing to calculate 341 nits, which is a little bit far away from the display HDR 400 that they put in this thing, but you know, it's plenty bright to me. I wouldn't use HDR anyways, because I think the colors pop more and are better. I think it looks better and the colors are more vibrant and stuff like that with SDR than with HDR. On the minimum side of things, it actually gets pretty dim at 27 nits of brightness, so those of you gaming or editing videos or photos in dark rooms won't have a problem because it gets pretty dim. Now, what about gaming? I know a lot of you are probably interested in that, so let's take a look. This is a 144Hz monitor. It supports AMD FreeSync Premium technology, and you can actually enable G-Sync in the NVIDIA control panel as well. It's G-Sync compatible. I used it with an RTX 4080, so I had no problems achieving those 144 plus FPS maxed out in every single game, and it was a wonderful experience, very immersive again because of the huge form factor and ultra-wide. The height of the monitor was also a pretty big plus in immersiveness, because compared with something like a 34-inch ultra-wide, more traditionally sized, you can see a lot more basic. Well, not see a lot more, but in front of you, it's bigger, it's more beautiful, more immersive. And I gotta mention this one, guys, Red Dead Redemption 2 looked absolutely phenomenal. It was so beautiful in this monitor. And it's gonna be the same for those single-player, story-driven titles. It's just gorgeous to look at. Now, response times wise, I couldn't really find a proper tool to test it, you know, to give you some values. So here's the UFO test. I mean, it's okay. It's not the best that I've seen, but definitely far from the worst. I noticed a little bit of ghosting and motion blur, but nothing major. I I got used to it in like 2 minutes and never noticed it again, and I was completely fine enjoying my games. Talking about competitive gaming, ultrawides were never really meant for competitive gaming, and for example in Valorant it didn't even fill the entire display, which is quite a bit of a bummer. You know, you're paying for 3440 pixels horizontally, you want to use 3440 pixels horizontally, right? But well, that just happens in a few games, mostly competitive shooters, because well, if it actually filled the entire display, well, you'd be at an advantage, which is the case in a couple of games that I tested. Overwatch 2 and Dota 2 were actually giving me an advantage. I could see a little bit more. I tested it vertically, it was the same, but I could see a bit more to the sides. That's insane. I didn't know that those games actually supported ultrawides, because Overwatch 1 didn't, right? I heard a lot of people complaining about that, and even though Overwatch 2 didn't really fill the entire display, it was only like about a centimeter or two on the sides that it didn't fill. So very enjoyable experience in those couple of titles as well, even though they're competitive ones. In terms of backlight bleed, it's good. You can see here, this is a long exposure shot, it's very exaggerated, and yeah, there's a little bit of it towards the top left. This was in a completely dark room, by the way, so no problems in that regard. Now, contrast ratio, they claim a 1200:1 contrast ratio in this one. I believe them. I couldn't really test it out myself, but I've seen some other reviews saying that it's above 1000:1, so that's great, and it's definitely more contrasty than my main monitor. It's the Dell G3223Q, very expensive, more expensive than this, and this actually has better contrast, so that's great. Next up is the on-screen display, or the menu of the monitor, you could say, and it's pretty complete. It has a ton of settings and presets. It's easy to find what you're looking for, but the controls are a little bit clunky. It would be better with a joystick, but it's fine. It's just a 4-button navigation system here. Pretty standard, I think. At least it's not on the back of the monitor like some others do, you know, that's pretty terrible. Oh, and it also has the speakers. They have like 0 bass, but they're pretty loud. They get really loud. It's fine, they do the job just fine, better than like other monitor speakers that I tried myself, but they're not like amazing, of course. If you are an audiophile, you will probably want a good set of speakers, obviously. Build quality, it's pretty good in this one. The base is very heavy, it won't make your monitor like tilt forwards or anything, you know, which is great. The arm is made of plastic, doesn't creak or anything. Finally, the monitor itself is also made of plastic. It's pretty solid, it feels good, it has a very minimalistic look, which I personally like. No RGB, unfortunately, though. That's not what I personally like, but you know, you would get more FPS with RGB, so... And it has tilt, swivel, and height adjustments. Swivel and tilt feels really smooth, but the height adjustment's a little bit rougher. Doesn't really matter though, it stays in place, and that's what you want, of course. You're not gonna like do bungee jumping with your monitor anyway, so it's okay. And I didn't expect it to wobble so little, by the way. It's a big monitor, I was expecting a lot of wobble, but no, it actually feels pretty sturdy and in place. Pretty great. And also, if you don't like the stand or if you want to VESA mount it, it is possible. It uses VESA by... Then we have the ports. It has a couple of HDMI connections, both go up to 100 Hz refresh rate, one display port for those full 144 Hz, and one USB, which actually can power your devices, but it only goes up to 60 Hz. At least with my laptop, it only went to 60 Hz. Finally, the price. In the US, it retails for $609 US. That's a pretty steep price, but if you are looking for these specs in specific, well, it's actually a decent deal, right? But wait, guys, Black Friday is coming. They actually contacted me saying that they will have some Black Friday deals, so stay tuned in for that if you are interested in buying a monitor like this, or this particular one actually. It's definitely worth it at those prices, by the way. Really, really nice deal. So that's been it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be kind because this is my first monitor review. But yeah, I hope it was enjoyable to watch and informative. Let me know if you are interested in buying one of these. I'll leave a link down in the description, by the way. No affiliates or anything. It's just normal link. And yeah, that's been it. Thank you very much for watching again. Love you all. Bye-bye.